Usually when I do my podcasts, I tend to do about 3 to 4 stories that I think are really interesting and are, necessary to talk about. Joe Biden took an even bigger lead on yesterday night. Some call it mini Super Tuesday. But the race is over. Biden's ahead. Sanders is still trying to do it. But this is very serious, and this is not, you guys know that I'm a conservative. You guys know that I'm a registered Republican. And a proud one at that. I need to say this about Joe Biden. Joe Biden is sick. He's sick. He's not well. And I would say that he has dementia. I'm pretty confident about that. Joe Biden, and I think this is going to be the only thing that I talk about today. Because it's extremely important. It's extremely important. Because, and I'm not going to try to make this political at all, but I will say this shows how bad the Democratic Party really is right now. They're choosing between a socialist and a guy who's, I hate saying this, but he's losing it. I don't find it funny at all. It's very serious. It's very sad. My paternal grandmother has dementia. I don't really have a relationship with her because of it. And it hurts. And I know it hurts my dad. My uncle spends a lot of time, he's pretty much given up his life to take care of my grandmother in her last days. He's pretty much taken like a 5-year break off of his marriage. They're still married and they see each other on weekends, but he pretty much lives with my grandmother to take care of her because she can't do it on her own. She can't make it on her own. Dementia is very serious. Joe Biden he's unwell. He's unwell, and I don't know how else to say it. Let me say this, if Trump said what he was saying, said the things that he said, it would be, they would say Trump is losing it. He needs to get out of office today. They're not doing that with Joe Biden. The media is barely talking about this. I mean, Fox News is, which is where this article comes from. Joe Biden. See, here's the thing. People make fun, he's just crazy old Joe, sleepy Joe. No, this is sick Joe. Joe is sick. He's not well. And there's no way if anyone else doesn't see it, I know his wife sees it. Dr. Jill Biden sees it. I know she does. She lives with him. She knows him better than anyone. She has to see this. And sometimes people don't see it themselves, that they have it. But there comes a time where you as the spouse, I'm not married, but I do understand this. This is the love of your life. You can't just be like this. And I don't know if she's done this or has tried, but Jill, if I were in Jill Biden's position, married to Joe Biden, I would say, Joe, honey, let's just, I need to talk to you. You go sit down, in the living room, on the couch. You look at him and you say, Joe, honey, you shouldn't run anymore. It's time to stop. It's time to retire from politics. It's time. Just Joe Biden has his life. Now I'm gonna say this. Relatively, he's kind of had a rough life. Not as rough as a lot of others. But we all know Joe Biden. He's never been very bright. But Joe Biden, his gaffes, it's now to a point where it's like, you're really concerned. There have been multiple occasions where Joe Biden has forgotten Barack Obama's name. Just the other day, and Blaze TV made fun of this. I can't think of the host. God, I can't think of his name right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. But Joe literally, and I'm not making this up. Joe literally said, we must only re-elect Donald Trump. He was trying to make a point, and he totally botched it. And it's like, see, like, it's not funny at all, because there was, you could see the people behind him, because you always see at rallies or events, you'll see, the supporters sometimes behind, probably because they paid more for their ticket, or they did pay more for their ticket. But they looked at him while he was doing it, and you can just see their faces where they're like, wait, what did he just say? He literally endorsed Donald Trump. Donald Trump could very easily just take that clip. And I'm telling you, you guys can look this up. Look up Joe Biden endorses Donald Trump. It was just recent. And you look at this and you say, oh my God. It's to a point where it's not funny. This is the article. Brit Hume warns Biden's gaffes suggest former VP is losing his memory and is getting senile. Fox News senior political analyst Brit Hume told Tucker Carlson tonight, Tuesday, that a series of slip-ups by former Vice President Joe Biden during his campaign for the Democratic nomination suggests that remember, he's 77. Joe Biden is 77 years old. That the 77-year-old former senator, like so many people his age, is losing his memory and is getting senile. I don't think there's any doubt about this, Hume said. I have traces of this myself. I know what it feels like. Sometimes you're confused. Sometimes you can't remember. What are you supposed to do the next morning? And I'm not running for president, and it's probably a good thing I'm not. Hume added that Biden's recent performance on the campaign trail is different from his long history of gaffes. If you've known him long enough, you kind of get used to that, and you think that they're kind of funny, and they're just part of who he is, and they're kind of harmless. More recently, however, he's begun to forget things, Hume added. He didn't know what state he's in. He couldn't remember where he was when he met the Parkland, Florida students, when he said he was in the White House. Hume also commented on the now viral confrontation between Biden and a Michigan auto plant worker over the Second Amendment Tuesday, saying that also showed a different, more troubling side of the Democratic frontrunner. I've known him a long time, and he can sometimes work himself up into a kind of passion in speeches and so on when he's arguing about issues and so on in a debate, Hume said. But I don't remember him exploding at voters like he did in this incident today, and hurling profanity the way he did, telling the guy he was full of you-know-what, except he didn't say, you know. This is serious. He's not well. And you guys realize this is March. This is March. Election night is in November. Biden he's going to get the nomination. The Democrats are not going to give it to Sanders. They wouldn't do that. No. They're not going to give it to a guy Bernie wants revolution. They're not going to give it to Bernie. Like, I don't know why Bernie's still running, because he's not going to get it. But Joe Biden, he's going to get the nomination, and he still has 8 more months of campaigning to do. he has 8 more months of going, of 8. It's going to be 8 more months of footage that he gives. Trump, if I'm Trump, you don't need to campaign. I would literally just save that money. I don't think it needs to be spent. You're running against a socialist who you know is not going to get the nomination. And you're running against a guy who's just not a 77-year-old man he's not well. And I'm not saying this as a Republican. I'm saying this as a logical person. If I'm a Democrat, if I'm a logical Democrat voter, just say, I don't want a revolution or anything like that, but I sit and I just think, I'm like, okay, who are my options? Let's just go in order. So you have the obvious incumbent president, Donald John Trump. Okay, he's in. He's not in my party, but okay. That he's an option. Option 2, Joseph Biden. 77, makes a lot of mistakes when he talks. He says things that here's the thing. It's not like Joe's just lying. Joe, you look at it and you see Joe is thinking of things that happened that never happened. In places that don't exist. Of working with people who have been dead for a long time. He does things like this often. So you say, okay, that's option 2. And then option 3, just, again, this is a logical voter. Okay, you know the history of socialism. So it's like technically he's an option. Bernie Sanders is an option, but you understand, no, we're not doing this. Like, no, it just doesn't work. So your choices are between Donald Trump or Joe Biden. As a logical person, you can't vote for Joe Biden. Because I don't know who Joe Biden's going to pick to be his VP. I don't know. But you're thinking, okay, Joe Biden goes. Let's say he gets in, okay? He would be in his early 80s at the end of his first term, and his mind is already not good. The mental taxation of being president is only going to speed things up. You have so many decisions to make. Like Joe Biden is literally just an unsafe person to vote for. Joe doesn't know what's going on in his own life. Like it's really sad and it's really troubling. Because see, here's the thing. You're trying to prevent Bernie Sanders from getting the nomination. Because any logical person, you just wouldn't go for Sanders. I would say this. People who vote for Sanders, they are just illogical. And they don't know history. That's my conclusion on Sanders supporters. It just, I don't know how many times socialism has to be tried before it's proven to not work. And just the other day, Bernie Sanders is like, real socialism. See, there it is. Real socialism hasn't been tried. See, that's what socialists always say. They always say the same thing. Oh, that wasn't real socialism. Another thing fails. Oh, that wasn't real socialism. See, when it keeps failing, they just keep making excuses of saying, oh, well, that's not what socialism is. And again, I say this. Either socialism is just this great idea that we think we can achieve. And it just, it's just a basic concept, nothing more. Or you're just wrong and socialism has been tried many times and it has a 0% success rate. That's why I say Bernie Sanders voters are illogical. And if you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, I encourage you to just reach out to me and just try educating me. Just give me a case as to why you're voting for him. He's very popular amongst Hispanics, and I think it's kind of sad because it's just like, you know, I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to go back to Joe Biden because he's going to get the nomination. You guys realize there's going to be a presidential debate. Joe Biden is really dumb. He's not sharp on his feet. He's not smart. He's going to go against Donald Trump, who's really good on his feet. He's really good, speaking extemporaneously. He's really good with that. Joe Biden, you can give him a script. He's going to blow it. There's going to be a presidential debate. Dear God, Trump is going to eat him alive. See, here's the thing. Part of me wants to watch it. The other part of me is like, that's just torture to Joe. Just in case you guys forgot, I'm going to go over some of his gaffes. Okay, some are funny. But see, here's the thing. As time progresses, you see that it's a pattern. And you see, this is the thing. The lights there's no brighter lights than this. You're running for the highest office in the world. This is bigger than Game 7 of the NBA Finals. This is greater than that. The lights don't shine brighter anywhere else. This is just from last November 12th, 2019. These are just a list of gaffes that he's done up to that point. These are the top 22 Biden gaffes of the 2020 campaign so far. And by the way, because I think it was last week or the week before where Joe Biden was talking about how he was talking in front of a crowd, and he says, I'm Joe Biden and I'm running for the United States Senate. You forgot what you're running for, Joe? So that will not be in here, but that's just keep that in mind. Okay. Oh God. I'm not going to go through all of these. I was going to, but I'm going to be honest. I feel bad for Joe. I usually don't feel bad for political candidates because they're willing participants in this stage. The other day, Elizabeth Warren was talking to Rachel Maddow, and she was saying, okay, Rachel Maddow was saying, okay, so who are you gonna, pretty much who are you gonna endorse, and why? And Elizabeth Warren was like, you know what, just give me my space. Oh no, you don't get your space. You willingly went on. You said, I'm running for the highest office in the world. President of the United States. You don't get your space once, even just because you're a loser and you're out. Oh no. You willingly go out there. You take what comes with it. Okay. But Joe Biden, he's the one guy I feel bad for. Because I feel like he doesn't realize how sick he is. Okay, number 20. I'm not going to go through all of them because the more you read them, the sadder it is. He called Julian Castro Henry Cisneros, who worked for Bill Clinton. I'm not going to get into titles and stuff like that because that's not the important thing. But Julian Castro, he was the HUD secretary under Obama. Cisneros was the HUD secretary under Bill Clinton. Okay? So that's just it right there. And then he stumbles over words. Preaching to the choir. This was in September. He said, you can't, in fact, preach to the choir if you can't sing. 18. Joe Biden was confronted by the fact that his 1994 crime bill puts tens of thousands of African Americans in prison. He laughed at that. He talked about the Paris Peace Accord, where he said, I'm going to make sure that we rejoin the Paris Peace Accord on day one. Biden apparently forgot the Paris Peace Accord was a treaty to end the Vietnam War, which was signed during his first year in the Senate. Biden doesn't know what school he went to. Biden went to University of Delaware and Syracuse University College of Law. But he said that he went to Delaware State, which is an HBCU. That's either blatant pandering, or it's just like, Joe, what are you talking about? You didn't go to Delaware State. I don't. Remember, he talked about how RFK and MLK got blasted in the late 70s. No, it wasn't. That was in the 60s. It's just sad. It's just sad. Now, I'm going to read. Listen. Biden's confused moment in the October debate. Biden flip-flopped on a position on a key tax issue in a matter of seconds during the October debate. We have to start rewarding work, not just wealth. I would eliminate the capital gains tax. I would raise the capital gains tax to the highest rate of 39.5. I would double it, Biden said, but his gaffe machine didn't turn off there. Moments later, he said, why in God's name should someone who's clipping coupons in the stock market pay a lower tax than someone who is a school teacher and a firefighter? Now, you probably just said, what are you saying? That's my question. By the way, you can find this at pjmedia.com. That's where I'm getting that's where I'm getting this list from. He talked about, 720, he talked about putting, he said he would put 720 million women back to work. The United States has 330 million people. There is no 720. You guys get my point. You guys get my point. He makes up, he made up stories, which that one I don't go against. Because that one was, well, I do go against. It's just a blatant lie. That his phony war story, it's not, it's untrue, and it's been proven many times over that it's not true. That's just, man, it's sad to see. This is a man who, his son died to brain cancer. That's sad. It's tragic. But Joe Biden, you gotta sit down. Because here's my thing. I could see Joe Biden resigning the presidency. I could see him resigning, or, and I don't want to say, I hate saying this, I could see him dying. The presidency is so hard. It is such a hard job. You see presidents, they go in day one, they look great, they're happy. You see them, years later, they look horrible. They look like they aged 20 years. And it's only been 4. Remember when Obama first went in? He came out, his hair was gray and stuff like that. Obama looks good now. He's back to his, he's got that swagger back. Not that it's gone, but it's back to its, full level. Being president is a hard job. You're always being talked about. Whatever you do, somebody hates it. Someone wants to kill you. Someone wishes that you just, died of a heart attack. It's a hard thing to do. Imagine being hated by millions of people, no matter what you do. I think it's sad. I think it's, I don't even know what to say about this. He's not okay. He's sick. Joe Biden is sick. He needs help. He needs to stop. For himself, for his family. Just, Joe, and I'm not saying this in a funny way. Joe, go sit down somewhere. Just go sit down. Just, go fishing, go golfing, have sex with your wife, play cards, go travel. Don't run for the presidency. I said this in an earlier episode. I can't understand people who are this old wanting to run for the presidency. Joe Biden, if he gets elected, he'll be in his 80s. 80s. Why do you want to be president in your final years of life? It's always something in the presidency. Somebody needs aid. Somebody just had an earthquake. There's some group out there starving. There's some group out there, they want to go and kill you. There's some group out there, they want to go whatever, man. It's like it's something every single day. Someone just got bombed. Someone just shot up a bunch of people. It's like, why would you want to do that? Joe Biden. This is coming from a young Republican. This is coming from a young dude. This is coming from a Gen Zer who's 21, who has been near death not that long ago. Joe, life is short. You don't know when you're going to go out. Just stop. Just resign. I mean, just end your campaign. For you and your family. And for the sake of America. If you keep going, you're only going to embarrass yourself further. You're going to embarrass yourself further. When I'm telling you that the presidential debate is going to come. Donald Trump may try to attack Hunter Biden. I wouldn't do that. If I were Donald Trump, I would say, okay, I'm good on my feet with talking and, just making stuff up and going with it and just speaking extemporaneously. I'm just going to just be talking to Joe. And I'm just going to confuse him. I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to try to limit myself on what I say and just let Joe talk. Just let Joe talk. Trump could literally go out on stage and just keep looking at Joe Biden and never say a word. Joe Biden will be like machine gunning his own feet. I don't know what else to say. Because it's not funny. It's not funny. I don't know. I don't know. I can't. This is it's almost elder abuse that they're encouraging him. Joe Biden isn't well. I know I'm spending a lot of time on this, but it's because it's important. This man, he doesn't have that much longer. I mean, he's already in his upper 70s, which, by the way, is a blessing. It's a blessing to make it to your 70s. That's a good thing. Some people die, when they're just kids, before they're, 10, before they're 20, before they're 30, before they're 40. He's in his upper 70s. And one thing I have learned from Joe Biden is no matter what the odds are, you keep fighting and you just have grit. I talked about this in an earlier episode, a little bit after, I came back from hiatus. Joe is not smart. He graduated near the bottom of his class, or I think at the bottom of his class. Everyone knows he's not a bright guy, and he never has been. But he rose his way from being a bum to vice president of the United States. That is amazing. That's willpower. That's luck. That's networking. You can say what you want about politicians. Being a politician is hard. It's not easy at all. But through all of those things, Joe Biden he's a bum. And he became vice president. That's one thing I have learned from him. I just, it's sad to see. I don't even like seeing those clips anymore because I'm just like, please don't show me. I don't want to know because it's come to a point where it's just sad, and I genuinely feel bad for Joe. Because they're saying, keep going, Joe, keep running, you got it, you're our best chance to beat Trump. Where his mind is turning into scrambled egg. This isn't funny. I'm not laughing, I'm not smiling. It's not funny. It's not funny in the least. Joe Biden he's sick. Jill Biden, if you somehow listen to this, please, he's your husband. You gotta, Dr. Jill, if there has ever been a time to put your foot down in this marriage, it is now. It's today. Your husband is very sick. And there's no way you don't know that. Cause you married him for whatever reason, maybe because, you saw great potential, you thought he was handsome or whatever. I don't know the story. You can't be saying anymore, oh, that's just, Joe's kind of funny, he doesn't have a great memory. He goofs up a lot. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. Joe Biden, here's the thing, Ronald Reagan was a fantastic president. Just fantastic. But when he got up there, it was clear, he's not here all the way. Joe Biden is not in. Dr. Jill Biden, please tell your husband to stop. For his sake. It's sad to see, he's doing this on the national stage. Most people, most people who get dementia, they're older, and they kind of deal with it privately. It's a small thing. You don't have hundreds of millions of people seeing, oh, this guy is just losing it. And what is sad is that there are people who are laughing at this. It's not funny. It's a disease. Disease is not, it's not a joke. It's not funny at all. How long have I been talking about this? Almost 40 minutes. I've never talked about a topic for this long. But it's sad. Here's the sad part. He's putting in all this effort. Everyone's trying to beat Trump. You're not going to beat Trump with these Democrats. These Democrats sucked. I was I go to a barbershop, Main Event in Riverside. Great place. I genuinely love it. That's one thing that would keep me near here, just in California. My barbershop. I love it there. Yes, it's in the ghetto. I love those guys. I've been going there for more than a decade. I love them. But my barber Jay, he was like, bro, they suck. Like, all of them. Like this just wasn't a good round. And he's putting in all this effort. He's putting in all this time. He's putting in all this money. If there was ever a time for him to spend time with his family, it's now. He's going to put all this, and some people, some might be listening to this saying, oh, you're just saying this because you're scared that he's going to beat Trump. Okay, no, I'm not. And even if he does, it's like, okay, he beat Trump. He shocked me. I'm not saying this out of fear. I'm saying this I'm saying as a human being. We're at the end of the day, we're all human beings. And I see someone who's not doing well. I see someone who's mentally not well. I remember he challenged Donald Trump to a push-up contest because Donald Trump made fun of his mind and made fun of, his mental state. And Joe Biden beat him, challenged him to a push-up contest, which I believe Joe Biden would beat Donald Trump in a push-up contest. I don't think it'd be hard for anyone to beat Donald Trump in a push-up contest. But it's like, Joe, you gotta stop. You're tired. It's okay. It's just sad. It's just sad. So I'm done talking about this. I've spent almost 40 minutes on this. It hurts me to see. Like, whenever I gotta say this, whenever I see a clip of him, I'm gonna say this and I'm done. When I see a clip of him on TV or on my phone, I don't want to look. I've literally muted the TV or changed the channel or turned my back to the TV because it's painful to watch. Okay. So, Michelle Obama, Laverne Cox, and Viola Davis, they talked pretty much, they all supported this 4-year-old girl who called herself ugly. I wanna ask a question. For those of you out there, how many, specifically, well, this is about girls and, their self-image, things like that. I'm curious, how many of you women listening to this have ever called yourself ugly or unattractive? Like, just be honest, have you ever done it? Because I'm reading the story and I think it's, it's a 4-year-old girl and she's saying, I'm ugly. I'm so ugly. So here's the article. Those were the heartbreaking words spoken by 4-year-old Ariana, as I believe that's how it's pronounced, as she had her hair styled. Atlanta-based hairstylist Shabria, who goes by Lil Wave Daddy on Instagram, immediately turned Ariana around to embrace and let her know just how beautiful she is. On March 5th, Shabria posted her exchange with Ariana, which has since gone viral. After Ariana called herself ugly, Shabria immediately responds with, "Don't say that, you are so pretty." Ariana begins to cry after hearing Shabria let her know how pretty she is. "You have this beautiful chocolate skin," Shabria says. "You are just so gorgeous. We must uplift our queens." I'm going to stop right there for a second, and I actually may finish with this point. Why do we? I've noticed this a lot in the black community. We tend to call ourselves kings and queens, and I don't know why that is. I think I believe it's to make us feel good. I think. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that, but I don't know. I find it strange. It broke my heart into pieces because, this is back in the article. It broke my heart into pieces because she has the greatest energy and the most beautiful smile and heart, she continued. She comes from a great home and loving mother. I just think when kids go to school, they learn and pick up so much different things that they don't know the definition, but they know the feeling. Shabria concluded her post by asking viewers to keep Ariana in their prayers and to keep lifting up our future. The post quickly gained attention. It now has more than 406,000 views, with lots of people sending loving words to Ariana. "Wow, this hits hard. Amazing outcome," one person wrote in a comment. Another person said, "I made my daughter watch this video because it's so important for me to have to hear you say what you said to this beautiful little girl. So important for all our beautiful black children to hear. I cannot thank you enough for sharing." Former First Lady Michelle Obama also gave Ariana words of wisdom. "Ariana, you are gorgeous. In a world that sometimes tries to say otherwise, I want to tell you and every other beautiful, intelligent, brave black girl just how precious you are," in an Instagram story. Now, I know that there are people who they've called Michelle Obama ugly. And that Michelle, I've heard from even, crazier people that Michelle Obama is really a man. First of all, that's just weird. That's just no, she's not. She's tall, yeah. I think Michelle Obama's, good looking. I don't know. Some people, I will say this. Some people they're just, I hate using the word haters, but they are. Some people, I say this. Many people online, and I found this to be true with myself. Some people online will say anything just to get a reaction out of you. Some people will do anything just to see what ticks you off. That's a real thing. They're trolls is it's probably that's probably the best word to use, because they just troll. They just want attention. They want a reaction. It's bait. It's just bait, and they look at these things, and it's like, okay, how can I get this person? How can I get them to react? How can I do these things? Billie, I want to comment on this really quickly. Billie Eilish, she talked about how her clothing, because you know how she wears baggy clothing. I don't have the quote exactly. I don't have it in front of me, but she said something like, if I wear baggy clothes, I'm not a woman. If I show my skin, I'm a slut / whore. I don't know which word she used. And she's like, no matter what I do, you judge me. For what and for why? I'm going to say this to Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish, I'll say this. I don't care for your music. I don't think it's good. But I will say this. Why do you care? If I could, and here's the thing, I'm not a celebrity, But I will say I've done enough research and I've done enough studying to see that negative comments can hurt if you just how can I word this? If you just look at negativity, that is going to affect you. That's just what happens. What's in you is going to come out. What you're exposed to is going to affect you. That's anybody. That's anyone. So if I could say this to Billie Eilish, I would say, and just other people, look, people are trolls. Stay off the internet. People will always be meaner on the internet than they are in real life. Because there's no face. I don't have to look at you face to face and say I was a troll of Billie Eilish. Okay? If Billie Eilish were sitting across this table from me, I wouldn't have the courage to be able to look Billie Eilish in the face and say, "Oh, you're ugly," or you don't know how to dress, or your style is bad, or you're just hiding your body because it's probably scarred and ugly. But see, if I were online and she wasn't there, I could easily do that, because it's easy to hate from afar, and online is, really far. I don't know Billie Eilish. I've never seen her in person. But this is what I'm talking about. It's just they're just trolls. People just want a reaction. You can't let them get what they want. They will give anything and everything to see what makes you tick. Sometimes you just gotta wear things like armor. Some people have certain features about them, whether their personality or things like that. Sometimes you just have to I will say this though. In this generation, we have become softer. Here's the thing. As life becomes easier, our level of grit and tenacity falls. We don't have to grind like people did 50 years ago. It's not the same. Life is so much easier now. So I get it, but sometimes you just gotta say, like, bro, who cares? I'm not a big Game of Thrones fan. I don't really get into TV shows like that. But one thing I do like that Tyrion Lannister talked about, where people always called him the imp, because he was, he's a dwarf and he's short and stuff like that. And he's like, you know what? You take what they say and you just wear it as armor. Because now everyone's going to say that's like, okay, yeah, I'm short, so what? Yeah, I'm dark, so what? Is that the best you've got? We do have to be tougher, but we just gotta tie that in. I think it's important to put things into perspective. Ariana, don't, if someone has ever told you that you're ugly, it's their opinion. That's what they think. And they may not have even thought that you were ugly. But don't let what others say get to you, because at the end of the day, that person doesn't matter. If you've ever heard that, it just doesn't matter. Like, you can't let people discourage you. You do have to put things into perspective. But at the end of the day, you have to have grit. You have to. And that's really what I wanted to talk about today. If there's anything I learned, I was talking to a guy at the church, and he was just talking to me because he was once paralyzed from the neck down. And he told me, because he was kind of relating what he went through to what I went through. And he was like, I had to want to get better. You have to fight and you have to keep going. And that really touched me. Because that was the thing. Because see, I had to have the desire to get better. I wanted to get better myself. I had to want to leave the hospital. I needed to have the desire to fully recover. That's what it is. You can't let trolls bug you. They're like water off the back. They're just trolls. They don't matter at the end of the day. Billie Eilish, just who cares? Like, who cares? You have to understand. Let me say this about the media, people in the media and the paparazzi, and I think I'm going to end. Their job is to have stories and sometimes just make things up about celebrities that will just get eyeballs. It's like, okay, how many magazines can you sell? Things like that. That's what it's about. That, like, at the end of the day, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a picture. They're trying to provide for their families. A lot of people say, oh, they need to get a life. That's their life. Their life is to look at other people's life and just look for anything. Just nitpick. Do I care that Billie Eilish wears baggy clothes? No. I really don't care. I mean, does she look weird? I mean, I think so, but it's like, if that's what she wants to wear, that's what she wants to wear. Some things you just can't. Some things you just have to. It's got to be water off the back. It's got to be water off the back. There's a song by the Tri-City Singers, and they're a group, they're a choir, and they have a song called "Encourage Yourself." And pretty much the song is about, in life you're going to go through trials and you're going to go through tribulations. And sometimes there's not going to be anyone there to help you. And what the song is saying is sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes you have to be your only cheerleader. And that's a real thing. So they were talking about, her hairstylist was like, oh, just, this is good. Just keep fighting, call her beautiful, say she looks pretty, all of those things. Ariana, one day you're going to grow up and you are going to have to encourage yourself. One day you're just going to have to just not care about what they say. It's going to be up to you, because people can tell you all day, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're intelligent. And this is just overall, and this is also a message to me. If I don't believe in myself, and if I don't support myself, what everyone else says doesn't matter. If I didn't fight to get better, I'd still be in the hospital. I would still be on hiatus. I'd still be in bed. I'd still be depressed. I'd be angry. It starts in you. That's where it begins. If you don't believe it, it doesn't matter. It could be everyone else saying the same thing, and if you don't believe it, it just doesn't matter.